Hello and welcome back to Dan the Democrat. We are going to be covering another state in the midst of mid-decade redistricting. Today we are in the Show Me State, Missouri, where Governor Mike Kehoe has proposed a 7-1 GOP map. We'll be going over the current Missouri map and then talking about the new one that was just proposed this last Friday. So here in front of us we have the current Missouri map, and we can see here that we have a district here in the St. Louis area. District 1 here, this is a almost majority black district, as we can see, 45%. You have District 2 that includes some of the suburbs and exurbs around that area. You have District 3 that kind of wraps around there and splits Columbia in half. 5 out in Kansas City, 6 in northern Missouri, 4 in kind of this western area, splits the other part of Columbia, 7 down in the Springfield area, and 8 down in the southeast portion going into the Boot Heel. Now, this map is already considered by many to be a soft gerrymander, given that you have these areas out here in the St. Louis region, St. Louis County, not St. Louis City, that are then put out here into very red Cass County. If we turn on the partisan lean real quick here, we can see that, instead of pairing it off with, some of these areas up in St. Charles, instead goes out here into more rural and exurban areas, a lot redder. This is Ann Wagner's district, a district that has been lean Republican. It's still been Republican, but it's definitely more competitive than your average Missouri district. And then you have 3, which cuts in half the university town of Columbia over here, along with 4. There are 2 Democrat districts, the 1st and the 5th. 5th being in the Kansas City area, and the 1st being in St. Louis, with the rest being solidly Republican. Unfortunately, for the Democrats, this wasn't good enough, so there's been a mid-districting proposal, and this is a recreation that I've been able to find. I don't think this is one-to-one. As we can see here, these aren't zeroed out, but this is pretty close to the PDF file released by Governor Kehoe on Friday. So we'll take a look at these real quick. As we can see here, we now get the elimination of the Kansas City district, and then we still retain the St. Louis district. Lines are cleaned up a little bit, I believe. Yeah, still only 45% black, but that's about how black you can get a St. Louis district. So I don't know if it's necessarily protected by the Voting Rights Act, though certainly I think it acts as a black access seat. Plus, it would be a little difficult to draw it out, but certainly not impossible. The 8th and 7th districts remain unchanged, whereas the most radical changes, of course, go down in the Kansas City area, and then with the 2nd district, and we'll go over those right now. So you can see here, Kansas City is chopped up. They have this border region that is very, very close to the Kansas portion, which is very, very Democratic. Over here, which is taken out and put into the 4th, with a bit of northern KC put into the 6th, as we can see here, just a tiny bit there. The rest of this area being taken out and then put into very rural Missouri territory over here, and then taking the northern half of Columbia, though certainly not in a large portion of it, with it still remaining in the 3rd district. The 2nd district is a bit changed here, takes in a little bit less of the Missouri suburbs here, or excuse me, the St. Louis suburbs here, goes into further rural red territory, though certainly they didn't draw it as red as they very well could have. This is the composite score on here, and this is about R plus 10. And so instead of it taking it down here, taking out these pinker portions of St. Charles County and then including these redder areas down here in more rural Missouri, have definitely made that district redder. So we can see this is pretty much squarely aimed at the Kansas City area, with a little bit of gerrymandering for St. Louis, but not too big difference there. This does make the districts a little bit more compact as opposed to the previous model, though any solutions therein would have to be corrections to a Republican drawn map. So it seems interesting that they're using that justification to clean up their prior work on this issue. So there you have it. It's a very quick video on the new proposed map for the state of Missouri. We can see that more and more states are starting to take up the cause of redistricting. We'll certainly see how things progress. We've got a case out in Utah. We've got the Mississippi State Supreme Court, possibly out in Indiana. Ohio is being talked about. We're going to be covering each and every one of those here on Dan the Democrat as we attempt to understand the redistricting wars currently erupting across the country. Thank you for tuning in today, and we'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye.